We ran out of rooms and I had to sleep in a bathtub for a year. My parents, for some strange reason, started this little mission home. And that wasn't like a state-sponsored thing. They just took people off the streets of Philadelphia. When I bring a handful of pills to my mom when I'm 2 years old and say, "Mommy, look what I found in Bobby's room," because he's a drug addict, but he can't get that demon under control. Different young people that lived in our house that were truly hopeless. But these were my brothers and sisters growing up. And I didn't realize that that's when Sweethearts and Heroes began. It's been about empowering young people to be the change within their peer networks. I'm Tom Murphy.
It takes a tremendous amount of courage to help people that are different.
To change and save lives, that's what we do. Name, Tom Murphy. Who am I? Superhero.
Thomas Murphy was born in Philadelphia, where early challenges played a big role shaping his character.
My parents, for some strange reason, started this little mission home. And that wasn't like a state-sponsored thing. They just took people off the streets of Philadelphia, less than they had. And I have two sisters, so there's three of us biological. And we always had people living with us. And man, I remember, my mom, we were so poor. My dad used to put $2 bills in books, still does it today. I can remember my mom in 1978, 79, shaking out books trying to find a $2 bill for a gallon of milk. But we always had people living with us. We had this big old stone house that they bought, I think, for $26,000 in 1977 or something. So there were a bunch of rooms. And we ran out of rooms, so they moved me to the third floor bathroom. And I had to sleep in a bathtub for a year. That was my childhood. You know, we went to prison on the weekends to visit people. And I didn't realize that that's when Sweethearts and Heroes began. That's when the programming was being written.
Seeking a new chapter, Thomas's parents packed up everything and moved the family to upstate New York, driven by the hope of a better future.
But then I found the sport of wrestling, and which changed my life forever and ultimately landed me here. But it gave me a lot of every skill I have today: dedication, commitment, all that stuff, the sport of wrestling.
Wrestling not only taught Tom valuable lessons and built his character, it also laid the foundation for his future career.
I can tell you two stories that I won't go into that changed my life. Because when I reflect back on these 16th century bullies, these sweethearts, you know, I had Brian Quick that came into my life. I had a guy named Dr. Owen Ireland that came into my life, changed my life forever. But got me to see that life isn't a talent contest, it's a strategy game. And whoever has the best strategies in life wins. And Dr. Ireland got me to see that I could take this same wrestling ability and apply those strategies to education. And I did. And I graduated with almost a perfect GPA in philosophy and psychology. And it got me to not fall out of love with wrestling, but it got me to expand who I was and my mind into so many different areas. And I just kind of fell in love with education. So very important point in my life. When I get done wrestling in college and I start working for this railway company, just clearing up trees and stuff, doing labor. And there was a rail traffic control job opening. So they make me a controller. I fall in love with this industry, but I'm not ready to stop wrestling. And so I'm trying to find places to wrestle. The railroad that I was working for at the time was being acquisitioned by a small holding company, and I ended up moving to northern Vermont to work for a different railway company. But in Burlington, there's a guy, one of the only coral belts on planet Earth, who trained under Carlson Gracie in Brazil 20 years ago, the father of mixed martial arts. And so I just started training in jiu-jitsu. And back then in 2000, jiu-jitsu was on the scene a little bit. Some of the early UFCs had happened. So I just fall in love with it and I dedicate all my free time. I'm working in the railroad industry, but I'm also training with these guys. And I start doing these grappling tournaments. Long story short, the Ultimate Fighter 1 happens. My sister applies me to the show. They call me. It's after I competed on the show. It led me to a little contract with the UFC. Got to compete in UFC 58. Fought the Canadian World Heavyweight Champ. Won it. After I do the show and after I'm on UFC 58, people start calling. And most of it were friends of mine and people that saw me, and they're like, "Hey, my kids saw you. Can you come and talk to my wrestling team or my volleyball team or my cheerleaders?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that."
Thomas knew that all the pieces of his life, from childhood to challenges in education, to his transformative years in college, to his time as a wrestler, and even his work in the railway industry, were leading him to something greater. These valuable lessons drove him to motivate and educate the next generation.
And then I get a call from a guy that I wrestled with in college, and he goes, "Can you do something on bullying?" And I'm like, "Yeah, maybe." So I rip open my dictionary, and that first thing I do from college, look up the word bully, sweetheart. And that was the birth of it.
With a growing and urgent need to empower students, Tom stepped up to make an even greater impact.
The destructive decisions that young people are making have never been seen before in human history. And of course, maybe the most difficult, which is suicide, it's just skyrocketed since 2007 in young people.
It's the same reason, students, why 22 service members take their own lives every single day in this country. It's the same reason why Caitlin Nicole Davis, Olivia Scott, Amanda Todd, Ryan Halligan, Tina Meyer's daughter, it's the same word. She felt hopeless.
Sweethearts and Heroes, it's been about empowering young people to be the change within their peer networks, within their communities. And it's really about empowering the next generation to be that change. And our mission from day one has been about empowering other young people to be the change within the lives of young people that are struggling with that feeling on the inside. That's what we do. And it's been 16 years in the making, a couple of million students from Houston to Hawaii to Montreal and back, but it's been powerful. And it's been about getting young people to become that change within their community.
Beyond addressing bullying, Sweethearts and Heroes equips young students with practical tools and life-changing skills to face the challenges of today.
It's not about bullying, I'd say number one. I mean, we're the bully guys, that's the horse we ride in on, but it has nothing to do with bullying. You watch this 90-minute assembly or some of the other work that we do, our classes that we have, our programs that we run, the circle work that we do, it has nothing to do with bullying. That's usually this checkbox that people have. But once they experience the tip of this iceberg called Sweethearts and Heroes, they're like, "Oh my God, I've never seen anything like this in all my years of education." You know, you got this guy who paints his fingernails and smashes people, and you got this other guy who was melted alive. And so it's this really fascinating interplay of emotions, and it's just really hard to describe until you see it and you experience it. And then people want more. And we've never advertised. And 99.99999% of everything we do is word of mouth. I was just reading through a few things last night. A lady girl from 2014. I got a slide deck of probably 350 slides with pictures of kids over the years, and just notes for myself. And I must have found 10 of them that were people that reached out to me from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago and said, "You have no idea how this changed my life." It's really hard to put this formula of Rick and myself and Sweethearts and Heroes together and say, what makes it so good? But I think it's the students. I mean, yeah, teachers love it. There's not one teacher in a school that won't be like, "Oh my God, I've never seen anything like that in my life." From kindergarten to 12th grade.
What makes Tom truly stand out and connect deeply with students isn't just his message, it's the way he shares his story with honesty, empathy, and a belief that every student carries the potential to be a hero.
I think when I started doing this stuff on motivation, leadership, goal setting, it was me just unpacking what got me through it. And I'm like, dude, if I can give this nugget to a kid, to someone else that's in my shoes a couple years ago, maybe it'll help them. But really, it takes me back to my childhood, where I'm in an auditorium packing up my stuff, and some young person sneaks back in and just pours their heart out. And I'm there to talk leadership motivation. And they're there, whatever I was saying was speaking to their heart and saying, I need help because I can't understand how to get through this. Hopelessness. And I didn't really know what to do with that. But I was looking at him from a different set of lenses. Now I'm looking at him from an adult, someone that's got some means now, someone that made it through his own challenges. And I think just reflecting on it, it was my attempt to give an answer to my brothers and sisters growing up that had no answers. Because I don't know if you know what it's like to live with someone that lived on the streets. Like, that's a tough thing, man. I'm talking to these kids after assemblies when everybody's gone, the lights are going down. And I think I was just trying to find an answer for them. And I think that what they felt from me, this is very interesting to me because I'm just kind of seeing it now. What they felt from me was whatever challenges I had, I'd figured out an answer that they couldn't figure out. So I think that that's what got this ball rolling.
With the world changing so rapidly, Tom believes what students need most today isn't just education. It's hope, empathy, and the tools to face life's challenges with courage.
We developed something called the bully drill. We stole a lot from fire safety over the years. If I were to say to you, what do you do when you catch on fire? You say, stop, drop, and roll. Every kid, if I do that in an auditorium, it erupts within, and they do it simultaneously because we've trained them from when they're little kids to do that. We do things like fire drills, right? A fire drill you do in preparation for the real event. So we invented a bully drill because we know that play is the most important thing for a young person, right? The great Stuart Brown, the great play scientist, said play is where all mammals transition successfully from childhood into adulthood. Every skill you have, you learned in self-directed, self-controlled play. Negotiation, cooperation, teamwork, all of these great human skills, that's where you learn them, and more importantly, that's where you practice them over and over. That's my ball, no, it's mine, back and forth, back and forth. You learn to resolve conflict. Right? You learn to deal with a skinned knee with no adults around. No one's like, oh my God, sorry. No, or your buddy helps you with it. So we take older students and they take these things that are culturally and generationally relevant to this network that they're in, and they build bully drills just like a fire drill based on things that are happening in students' lives. And there's some overlap. I mean, kids are mean the way they were 1,000 years ago, but the way that you handle some of those things and the skills that those young people have, right, that are different than the skills that I have because it's a different environment, it's a different world.
Do you know what this is? A what? Excuse me? A what? Bro, you're about to fly upside down. Come on, man. Bro, you never put your cape on upside down when you were a kid. Now pay attention. I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna bully this guy the wrong way. All right? You ready? Dude, I've been waiting for this. Put it on, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Now, this here is my my bully hat. You get it? Yep. So, did you see The Incredibles? That's my jam. I love The Incredibles. That's my guy there. But my favorite part is when old Mr. Incredible lands on the big island to fight the robot. You remember what he said? He said, it's showtime. Yo, what'd I tell you about wearing that stupid shirt? I said the next time you did, you was in trouble. Now you got it on. That's right.
Hey.
Whoa, whoa. Hey! What are you doing?
Taking them away.
Pat! Come here. That was like the weirdest takeaway I've ever seen.
I have to get him out of there.
I know. You just watched your first ever bully drill. We do fire drills with young people for life-saving measures. Imagine if we raised a generation of young people that practice jumping into action like every other great skill in education. Where would they be? I tell you where they'd be. They'd be real superheroes. Now, my man did a great job here. He got over there within the first 10 seconds. This is called rewinding the tape. And then he did absolutely the weirdest takeaway I've ever seen. I've seen that one before, but not like that. He did a great job. Give him a hand.
So the stop, drop, and roll of bullying, it's just, I think, a clever way to make it very sticky. Everybody knows about stop, drop, and roll. Like, we invented the stop, drop, and roll of bullying to make it simple, action-based, and life-saving, because that's what stop, drop, and roll is, right? It's like a fire drill. They're all simple, they're action-based, and they're life-saving. And that's really the beginning of this message.
From his experience, Thomas shares the core principles he believes are essential for true success.
This is an ancient piece of wisdom, man. It's just so simple. I mean, you could call it a religious axiom if you want to, but it would just be love your neighbor. I mean, it's got to be the greatest of all the lessons. When you need help, you need someone there to help you. And you're going to need help. Like, that's it. You know, one of our other axioms on the hero side that we didn't really talk about is jumping into action. And, you know, ACE, action changes everything. It was the great Herbert Spencer said, the great aim of education is never knowledge, it's action. And that's meant a lot to me over the years because nothing changes unless you actually jump into action. Recently, I've been thinking a lot about this. There's a precursor to that. I'm a big Viktor Frankl fan. And, you know, Viktor Frankl said that there's this space between stimulus and response. And in that space is your power to choose your response. And in that response is your freedom. And before action happens, there's this really neat opportunity. It's why we praise people that run into battle. You're going in there to die. And that's why we elevate people that do those kind of things. And Socrates said that courage is the greatest of all the virtues. Courage. And that's why superheroes are so important. Little kids put those costumes on. I tell this to young people all the time. I say, they put those costumes on all the time. And you come home and it's your little brother, your little sister, and they're out there dressed up in one of them costumes. They're fighting some tree or jumping off a picnic table, trying to fly like a weirdo. And you're like, what is that kid doing? You know what they're doing? They're practicing being brave. Nobody's ever born brave. It's a virtue that has to be practiced. Socrates said it was the greatest of all the virtues. And when you have your own children, that's all you want. That's it. Nothing else. Them to be brave, to go order their own slice of pizza, you know, stick up for a friend, stick up for themselves, go on a job interview, and go out into the big, scary world and to be brave. Maybe I just go right back to the beginning and I say, I think my legacy is to just give the gifts that have been given to me to other people. The things that got me through the tiny little challenges I had in life, because I didn't have any massive challenges, man. I mean, I had tough things, man, the way I grew up, but that's nothing compared to what I hear kids going through, man. I can't count the number of sexual assaults and other things that kids have dropped on me over the years. And I want this message to be a legacy maker. I'm seeing it now for the first time. The most beautiful thing about our message is we're having students present it now. That's kind of what propelled me in this direction, is we've kind of run at the peak of where we can scale to. We don't have any more days, any more time to present during a school year. We go out into other sectors and do work as well and train a lot of teachers. But the most important thing, man, for me is that we're training high schoolers to present this Sweethearts and Heroes message of hope and action to the next generation. I got some footage right now that is just unbelievable. I think that's what I want the legacy to be, is for every generation to take these core axioms that have defined humanity: hope, action, helping other people, courage. And it's just the next generation handing it down to the Gen Alpha or the ones that are going to come behind them. You know, I think I don't even want my name to be known. So I just don't want this legacy to be about me. I want it to be about this message. I want it to be about the human beings that have gone before, that have been brave, that have taken action, that have given that hope that they all carry inside of them, and maybe give it to the next generation so we don't have the same mess on our hands.